Everybody, I know it's kind of late. I don't know. I like to be up super early, stay up super late. It's just how my time ticks. If you're not consuming a lot of toxicity, if you're not consuming a lot of bullshit, you don't really need sleep. And I'm living proof for 5 months now. I literally run off fucking 3 hours of sleep. 4 hours of sleep, maybe. It's not by choice. My body is just rested. It's, hey, you're up. Let's go. Let's do this. So now I at least make sure I stay in bed, until like 7 o'clock. Most days, though, I do get up early, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's if I go to bed on time. Now, if I go to bed at 2, 3 o'clock, I'm just gonna get up, late. But I never use an alarm clock. Even when I'm working, I don't use an alarm clock to wake me up. I'm not dependent on an alarm clock. Now, the whole reason I'm talking about time, like everything I talk about on these videos, they all correlate. It might sound jumbled, so you gotta probably watch the video like 3, 4 different fucking times to understand what the hell I'm saying. And I'm also tapping into the 5th dimension. I'm tapping into, my pineal gland and all these other stuff that is not really in my vocabulary yet. This is new. Everything is new. Even this whole soul drift pilgrimage I'm doing, like, there's some stuff that I'm doing that Google don't even have access to. So my inner wisdom knows even more than what the world even has access to. And it's crazy, or like fascinating, not crazy as in oh crazy, but crazy as in fascinating, that we all have our own internal like Google, our own internal like, we know shit. We all know shit, we just haven't tapped into it. So anyways, with this whole time thing, I'm gonna try to just, every single day now until the time for me to leave, one video in the morning, one video at night. And so this is my nighttime video, and what I was like doing is I sit here and obviously I'm smoking, I'm chilling. Majority of the time I am smoking. I do like to smoke. It's not something I need to do. It helps me think. It helps, a lot of shit. And I've been smoking since I was 7 years old. It's just my lifestyle. It's just who I am. I love to smoke. I've been, since 7. You think my brain cells would be dead, but that's a whole different topic. I'm not going to tell y'all about marijuana. That's going to freak everyone out. Marijuana is actually a miracle drug. It doesn't kill no brain cells. It actually rejuvenates. It's like a brain massage. But anyways, I'm going to give y'all an overlook, because like what I do at nighttime and what I do in the morning is self-reflect. Self-reflection is very important. Where I'm plugged in, I'm tuned in, I got my headphones, I'm supposed to be listening to music, but for some reason I always find myself just sitting here pondering or just thinking. Pondering is not something people do mostly. Like I said earlier in the video, this morning, we're always distracted. So we don't have a lot of time to, spend with ourselves. Like mindful time. Like we make time for other people, but why don't we make time for ourselves? Oh, but I did this for me, I did this. When was the last time you sat down and you had a conversation with yourself? When have you conversed? But today's society and today's norms, that's crazy. There's all these labels, and people like me, we get locked up, we get put in a psych ward. But then when you start dropping education, you start dropping wisdom, or you start dropping your resume and you start showing people, like, hey, like, look it, like, I've done it the right way. I did it. I deserve this. It's my retirement. I did it. I did it all. I deserve this time. But anyways, time. To give y'all an overview on my whole entire year, because I download everything. And I can tell you everything. in just a little bitty time. Okay, December 30th, 2023. So last year, December 30th, there was an altercation that happened, and during that whole altercation, I probably counted about 32 stabs, 32 pokes. So I got stabbed 32 times. Okay, it does take two to tango, but best believe, like, I've defended myself, and that's a whole different story. But anyways, this happened December 30th. I got stabbed 32 times. From the location of me being stabbed, I was placed into an ambulance. Now this is December 30th. When I was in this ambulance, it's my first time to actually sit still, and my first time to ponder and reflect. And I was scared. I was terrified. We always run from ourselves and our demons and our inner voice in our head, and we stay away from what I live inside today. Like my inner peace and my inner solace, like that came from chaos. It came from the darkness. It hasn't always been this light. And majority of the time, we hide from that shit. We hide from our deepest, darkest, like, fucking sins, and our deepest, darkest, like, wrongdoings, and, the things that we regret, and the things that we fear, and it's all make-believe. It's all stuff that we believe as real and as true, and majority of the time, fear holds us back. Fear goes hand in hand with lack of confidence. Without fear, you have confidence. You feel powerful. Without fear, oh, I'm unstoppable. But in today's society, when you have confidence or too much confidence, it radiates ego or pride, or when you have a sense of certainty, it just rubs people the wrong way. Or when you think differently, or when you view things differently, you have a different perspective. That's in most cases disrespectful, or when I say they, I'm talking about the American society. I'm talking about our way of life, being in the United States of America as a whole. It rubs me as an individual the wrong way. It's ass backwards. We don't practice what we preach. Okay? So December 30th, this happened. I got stabbed, and I had a lot of time to just think in this fucking ambulance ride to this hospital. I didn't get to choose what hospital to go to and all this, all that. They brought me to one hospital. They brought the other party to the other hospital. Cool. We're separated. Awesome. All right. So you think me being stabbed 32 times, my hand was also fractured. You would think, like, I would be, like, seen right away. They literally had me in the fucking waiting room for almost 8 hours, bro. 8 hours, 9 hours. Like, literally just waiting. Stabbed up. Like, they patched me up and everything. Don't get me wrong. Like, they patched me up. They, gave me a little cast on my hand, and they told me to wait. We'll figure out what we got. We got other things. I don't know what the fuck's more important than a stab victim. But, hey, it's Minneapolis. I'm not gonna say anything. It's the Twin Cities. It's Minnesota. It's Minneapolis. So, sitting here in this emergency room, and I got a lot of time to think. The thinking turned into wandering. Now I got a big family, and what really, like, bothered me or rubbed me the wrong way with this situation is none of my family reached out. Granted, I don't reach out to them. Granted, I don't ask for help. I'm very independent. I'm very, just in myself, like in my world, and my current lives or my current situation or the current chaos that I create for myself. I'm so in it, or I don't want to taint other people, and that's my empathy. I don't want to, and a lot of people find it rude or find it, me being self-centered. But if I know something is toxic and I know something, has the ability to taint other people or to create chaos for other people, I rather avoid these other people, and still give them love or unconditional love, or still give them respect when time allows it. But if time doesn't allow it, or if I don't feel like I'm in a mental health space where you know, I could converse with people on a peaceful level, because normally people irritate me. You know, I have to find a way to not necessarily dumb myself down, but I got to find a way to speak on their level. I'm always been a higher being. I've always been has always been me. I've always had this way of thinking. It just was never in society. It was never correct. It was always frowned upon. So especially being so young, you know, you get looked at as a know-it-all, or you wise ass and shit like that. And then that grows eventually when you get older. It grows to, oh, you're just an old soul, and you hear that. Or and then you like hear like, oh, you're a starseed, or you're an indigo child, or you're, you know, you hear all these different labels and all these different words, you know. And I'm the embodiment. I'm literally a potluck. I'm a spiritual potluck. If everybody knows what a potluck is, or a get together where everyone brings their own dish or their own flavor, and nothing really makes sense, nothing really correlates or go together, but it kind of correlates because it's food and it's edible and it's good. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's messy, some of it you agree with, some of it you don't agree with. Like, if you really want to dig deep into who I am and what I am, I'm a spiritual potluck. I study and I tune into all these different religions and these practices like Buddha, Tai Chi, the teachings of the Muslims, and the teachings of Greek mythology and God and Christianity, and, you know, even Amish people and Native American tribes, from the Navajo to the Ojibwe, which I am. I'm Anishinaabe. Like, I know who I am, you know. I got Chata blood in me as well. You know, I got Aztec blood, and, you know, I got all these different, like, my ancestral, like, blood pool is also just you know, a potluck, spiritual potluck. You know, and it's the best way to describe it. It's the best way, you know, because not a lot of people are going to agree with some of my views. Some of my views, people are going to be like, oh, that fucking makes sense. And some of my people was like, this way of life is just too simple. There has to be complex. There has to be, you know, additives to it, you know. So December 30th, 2023, sitting in this damn waiting room led to me wandering. It led to me, you know, wandering in my head, but physically wandering, and I felt alone. I was scared, tired, exhausted, mentally exhausted. Like, if people know my life, they know I've been fighting. My whole life has not been living. I've been fighting. I've been surviving. My survival mode turned on at 11 and it never turned off. And that was just my life, living out of backpacks and buckets. And, you know, yeah, I had stability for like 12 years, and I had a relationship, and that relationship was filled with chaos. And it takes two to tango. So I own up for my part, you know, and it did not end the way I wanted to, but I got two great kids out of it. Like, I did a great fucking job being an active parent. Like, I'm a great father. I know eventually, you know, if I end up having a relationship, I will be a great dad. I will be a great father. The only problem is I can't raise them with this American society. Like, and it's going to be super hard raising them on the road and raising them very highly mobile and being looked at, you know, as a parent that is neglecting their child, neglecting them from education, neglecting them from the healthcare system, neglecting them from what society sees as normal and sees as okay and sees as care, you know, and not seeing that my lifestyle provides the perfect parent, because I have nothing but time. I have nothing but valuable wisdom to provide my child, to provide my seed and my lineage, you know, nothing but active parenting. That's from allowing them to fall when they fall, and allow them to go through emotions and allow them to feel, not cage them in a box and not shove pills down their throat and put a fucking screen on their, you know, their face. And this is a whole different topic. I know I ramble and I rave, and I'm trying to get to the point where my mind is wandering here. This is December 30th, 2023. I keep on reminding you guys of the short period of time. It's only been not even a year yet. It's now today, December 7th. 2024. So it hasn't even hit that year mark. And I'm already at this state. So my mind's wandering. I end up wandering. I climb up to a parking garage and I just keep on going all the way to the top. I jumped. Not I was going to jump. No, I jumped. I was on the edge. I was there. Like, I was ready. I was at peace. Like, how I feel now is how I felt then, which is fucking crazy because this is me starting a life and that was me taking a life. And that's what I was saying. My light wouldn't be this bright if it wasn't for my darkness. And I saw happiness. I saw peace. I saw solace. I saw everyone leaving me the fuck alone. And I jumped. But like in that instant of me jumping, I got tackled by some fucking random lady. And I remember her face. I remember her and her, cries of just giving me all this unconditional love that, I longed for, I searched for. She gave me all the love I ever needed in the whole entire fucking universe. She gave me that. She provided that. Whoever that lady is, like, I thank her. I don't know who she was. I don't know, I don't know. And this night is jumbled. Like, I don't know if the emergency room came first or my suicide attempt came first and then I was in an ambulance and got sent to the hospital, because all I remember is me about to jump, an ambulance, this lady, and then waking up in the psych ward. That's all I really remember. I know that I took a picture when I got to the psych ward and I was in my, like, because I make anything look good. I don't know. I've always had that kind of confidence where, like, I don't care what I'm working with, whatever material I'm working with, I just throw that bitch on and it's me, baby. I'll make it look clean and fresh. And it was December 30th. And even in that picture, you can still see a glimmer of light. You can still see me happy. And then in that time in the psych ward, I applied myself. Like I said, I like any kind of job, like any kind of, if this is my life, this is what I'm going to do. And it got to the point where I had to even advocate for myself there, and I had, security called on me multiple times trying to put me in a fucking room and stuff. But I'm educated and they don't want that. And I'm also not on drugs. They don't want that either. Marijuana is not a drug to me. It's a tool. It helps me focus and helps me continue being creative, and I enjoy it. I love it. It makes life just a little bit lighter. It helps me tolerate this matrix that you guys call the American society. It's the matrix. It's consumerism at its finest, and it's ass backwards. They don't, they have all these laws and all these, amendments, and even our founding fathers couldn't even abide by these, amendments that they even wrote up. Corruption has always been our government, and that's my opinion. That's my perspective, and me doing it the way that I'm doing it and being homeless the way I'm being homeless, which is demonstrating my power of sovereign majesty. Y'all can't even Google this shit. Sovereign majesty. Everyone has this power. You can Google the word sovereign and it's related to God and all that. You can Google the word majesty and it's related to royalties and queens and stuff like that. But the English language, everything evolves, everything changes, and why cannot we evolve and change and create like we used to? This all came from us. The very fucking brick wall that's behind me, it came from us. We created. We had that opportunity at that time. But now that everything seems to be done already, we're not trying to explore or create or anything. Look at me. I'm making history right now. No one's ever done this. No one's ever. There's no documentation on this. No documentation on how I'm doing this venture. How I'm doing this pilgrimage, bro. Oh, it's gonna be great. But anyways, on the 30th, you know, that was me. I committed to the psych ward. And then I was only in that bitch for like 17 days or 11 days. I wasn't even in there for that long. I thought I was in there for like a month or 2 months. My time frame has always been weird and off. But I wasn't even in there for that long. I literally got released January 10th. So I did spend New Year's in the psych ward last year. But January 10th, they released me. But since I was technically a vulnerable adult, they can't release me on my own. So none of my family claimed me. And don't get me wrong, I looked for my independence. I did look for domestic abuse shelters for men. There was no domestic abuse shelters for men, you know, that had availabilities, because there's only like 2 or 3. And it's not very common. And, you know, there's also these like other like shelters I can go to, safety shelters or whatever the fuck. They had some kind of weird name for them that I could go to. But you need to be on a daily medication, you know, not a PRN. I was on a PRN, you know, hey, as needed, you know, and I was very educated on that. I was like, no, I'm taking a holistic approach. I want to feel the uncomfortable. I was very adamant since the beginning. I want to feel this. I've never gave myself the opportunity to actually feel and be human and feel this shit. I don't want to diminish it with medications. I want to, you know, understand this void of madness, this chaos inside my head. I want to understand it. So being an vulnerable adult, January 10th, they released me from the psych ward in Minneapolis. And literally from the door from the hospital, I went into another door inside a cab. There was no transitioning. There was no saying goodbye. I didn't even know where I was going. They just told me, hey, someone claimed you, you know, and I was excited. I'm like, let's go, let's figure it out. And the craziest thing, the person that fucking claimed me wasn't even family by blood. She saw me when I was a baby, and then she saw me at my Uncle Bruno's funeral. And she's my uncle's baby mama. Like, she ain't even married into the family or nothing. She's the baby mama of my uncle, you know, and through her, I got my cousin and stuff like that. So there's connection there. There's family ties there. You know, she got my cousin here and everything, but she is not biologically related to me. She's only seen me when I was a baby and then seen me at the funeral. So she's a complete stranger to me. And she was giving care. She's like, here. She took me. Now that's a whole different topic. I'm not gonna dive into that. It's a whole different topic. Anyways, things weren't stable the way they were supposed to, especially being a vulnerable adult. So my status went from being vulnerable adult to live your fucking life. 2 buckets of clothes in a basement to sleep in. So I hit the ground running. I got a job at Family Dollar, got a job at Walgreens, eventually quit Family Dollar, continued at Walgreens, got promoted at Walgreens, got another promotion at Walgreens, got a raise at Walgreens, got another promotion lined up for Walgreens. And I just kept on climbing the ladder, just kept on. And now it's December, and I quit my job. Granted, I have good reasoning. I have solid reasonings for it. And now, this was my last, like, attempt to be a normal adult, be a regular grown-up, pay the bills. You know, I had a studio apartment over there. From basement, studio apartments, now an actual apartment. It doesn't bring me happiness, bro. It just brings more pressure. All these fucking... So, what it boiled down to, what I said this morning, and I wrote it down or whatever, was this life right here, this life that we live, this America, this United States of America way of life, It is so much, but we will never be enough. That's what I'm going to leave y'all with. This video is now 25 minutes long. It's a good number. I like it. So, we in America have so much pressure, so much outside pressure. It's too much. And then we're told at the end of the day that we're not enough, either by words or by the actions of the people that are around us. Love everyone. Peace and blessings. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great night. Love you guys.